Okay. Okay. So first thing that you want to do when assessing a situation is you want to make sure that the scene is safe. So you don't want to approach a scene that's dangerous for you. And then the next thing you want to do is to check responsiveness of the individual by asking very loudly, "Are you okay?" and even going up, kneeling down, and gently shaking the shoulders of the individual. For this example, we're going to say, yes, she's okay, she is moving, and she is responsive. So, next thing we're going to do is we're going to check for breathing, make sure that they're not choking on anything, and we do that by looking for rise and fall in the chest, or leaning over and listening closely for breath, making sure that the airway is not blocked by pushing up the chin just a little bit. Next step is we're going to scan the body for any kind of severe bleeding and call the EMS if necessary. So in this instance, there is no severe bleeding, so we don't have to call any kind of emergency services at this time. Next, I'm going to demo the recovery position. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this arm up and at a 90-degree angle. Then, place this arm with the palm facing towards her face, over her body. Raise the knee until the foot is flat with the ground, and then gently roll the body over, using the knee to support her. And that's the recovery position. So, and that helps the person to be able to breathe and will recover. All right, now rolling her back onto her back, I'm going to demonstrate a physical exam scanning the body for dots. So moving from head to toe, first what I'm going to do is look at the head and determine that there are no fluids coming out of the ears, nose, or anything that could block the mouth. And then look at the pupils to make sure that those are the same and properly dilated. Now, moving down to the neck, there is no medical ID tag, and I don't see any dots. Then I'm moving down to the chest, gently squeezing inward to check for any broken bones, and again, scanning for dots. Now I press on the stomach, the abdomen, to continue to check for dots. The pelvis, squeezing the hips up and down. And then the extremities, I'm going to check for dots. Okay. And that's just a basic, quick physical exam to scan the body for any kind of dots, which is deformities, open wounds, tenderness, or swelling. And tenderness is basically just asking the person, do you feel pain or pressure here, or what, whatever the case. And that's really good, especially if you do see swelling somewhere, to ask where does it hurt in this area, so you can determine what the injury specifically might be. And then if the person does not seem to have a spinal injury, you can also move them into the recovery position as well to check on their back. Move them onto their side so you can check their back for dots. Okay. So next we're going to check for shock in a responsive person. So as previously stated, this person is responsive. When looking for shock, you want to make sure that you continue to monitor breathing. If the person stops breathing, start to administer CPR and instruct someone to call EMS, 911. And you also want to continue looking for any type of severe bleeding. Again, calling EMS if necessary. So since this person does not have any broken bones, severe allergic reactions, and so on and so forth, there's no reason to have to treat any of those things before calling 911 in this scenario. So we're going to move on to calling 911 due to the injury and then treating for shock. So in order to treat for shock, what I'm going to do is lay the person down, which she already is, and then elevate her feet 6 to 12 inches. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the person from getting too cold or too hot. Since the room in here is a good temperature, I'm not going to apply any kind of blanket or anything over her. And I'm also going to make sure that nobody gives her any food or water during this period until medical assistance arrives. So next, I'm going to go over using an EpiPen. So you can sit up. Alright, so to use an EpiPen, what you do is first you have to remove the cap from the EpiPen. I'm just going to place it on the other end here. This is the end we'll be injecting for my pen, EpiPen. Next, what we have to do is check the leg at the injection site and make sure that there's nothing obstructing where you're going to inject. So I'm going to do it here, which is right between the knee and the hip. Next, you grab the sides of the EpiPen, not holding the top or the bottom, and push in, holding for 10 seconds, which I'll do now. And then removing and massaging the area for 10 seconds, which I won't do the full thing. And that is how you properly administer an EpiPen for someone who is having an allergic reaction. Alright. So next I'm going to go over splinting an upper body extremity and a lower body extremity. So first we're going to splint the arm. So since I don't have a proper commercial grade splint, I will be using what I have around the house. So this is just a metal bar, and then I have some cloth to attach it to the arm. So first what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the inner side of the arm all the way up to the armpit. Then we're going to begin attaching it. Typically this would be done with proper bandages, but since I don't have that, I'm just using bits of cloth, which also works. Alright, and then that's how you properly splint the arm. Next, what you want to do is you want to test to make sure that it's not too tight, that they still have circulation in their arm. If for any reason it does start to feel like circulation is being cut off, these have to be loosened in order to make sure that it's properly circulating, because it's not good to cut off circulation to the injury either. So next, we'll move on to splinting a leg. And for that, I'm going to use a larger piece of metal. Alright. So, first position both of your legs so they're out straight. Now on the underside of the leg, going from beyond the foot up to the hip, just like this. We're going to apply a splint, then gently lifting the leg and the splint. We're going to do the same that we did before, wrapping the bandages around the leg to secure the splint to it. Being careful not to tie a knot over any of the injury. So if there is any kind of broken, fractured bone, you don't want to tie a knot directly over top of that. And just like that is how you apply a splint to the leg. And that just makes sure that it immobilizes it to avoid creating any further injury. Yeah. And next, and finally, I'm going to go over moving someone who's injured. So just let me remove the splint. So I'm going to go over two methods, which is the shoulder drag and then a blanket pull. So first we're going to do the shoulder drag. You could lay it down with your feet closer down there. So how you do that is you put your hands under the person's armpits using your forearms to support their head. And then you just pull, right? Next, I have the blanket pull. For the blanket pull, you roll an individual onto a blanket, which I have here. All right. So using a similar method that you do when you do the recovery position, you're going to roll the individual onto the blanket, and then, pulling from the top of the blanket, you'll pull the individual. And that's it. That's my demo. Okay.